Evet, yeni bir panelle devam ediyoruz.
So we will continue with our fourth panel. We're going to talk about human rights, freedom and equality. Freedom, human rights and equality, they are the raison d'être of human existence. That goes without saying. Now the country that we live in, but not only the country that we live in, but the continent that we live on, and the other side of the Atlantic, the north, the south, we're going through difficult times in terms of freedoms. We're losing freedoms. We have more populist, authoritarian regimes coming to power with strong public support. In EU, Hungary and Poland have two right-wing populist regimes, which lead us to question the democracy and the policies of EU. I'm not even going to talk about the Erdogan regime in Turkey. We're having the most populist Caucasian version of politics that ever existed. So this is a time of going down, right? And we can only survive and float with our struggle for human rights and freedoms. This was always the case. This has always been like this, and it will continue to be so. And yes, there's a downward turn, but we also know that what human rights mean, the virtues that they stand for, they will continue to be important for all of us. Human rights and history, or human rights and time, the relationship between these two has been paradoxical. In the path to freedom, equality, and human rights, we have milestones. We can reduce torture, we can reduce inequalities, and you lay down the basic standards to live in a more egalitarian society. However, of course, there's oppression and there is cruelty and tyranny against these endeavors. There are always new methods for oppression. So that's what I mean by paradox. You move on, of course, you move forward, but the more you move forward, the newer methods and tactics they develop to oppress and suppress you. We have covered a great ground. We have come a long way, you know. Just by looking at what has happened in Africa or in some other countries, you can see that we did actually come a long way. So we will continue. Now, human rights, upholding human rights is a virtue. Human dignity, virtue, these concepts are very important. We teach our kids about human dignity and virtue. These are tools by which we humans will live with dignity. Human rights will move forward with people getting together, working together, with people knowing each other better. Thanks to human rights, people will forget differences, or they will learn to live together with those differences. Human rights, therefore, is one of the founding stones of democracy. So human rights, democracy, and also struggle. Without a struggle, without fighting, there's really no way we can move forward. So there are ups and downs. There will be ups and downs in the struggle for human rights. And we are going through troubled times indeed in terms of democracy and human rights. Turkey, for instance, we are going through the worst times. Lesbians, homosexuals, they're subject to oppression and cruelty. Saturday mothers, we have seen what happened quite recently. Kurdish people, there's no need to even mention how difficult life is for them. Scholars, academics at universities, they have lost their jobs. But still, despite all that, there is also, there are also people like Eren Keskin, struggling, fighting for so many years for the Kurdish issue. So, despite all the negativities, everything that I have said, I should also mention what the work that she does means for us. Conscientious objectors. In a country where we have militarists, tough militarists, Conscientious Objection Movement is trying to move. KAOS GL. In a country where we have conservatism, masculinism is trying to not only survive, but to thrive. It gives us new hints and perspectives and tolerance mechanisms into what is different from us. So awareness actually is one of the results of human rights struggles. Theresa, again a guest coming from South Africa, and she is working for little girls against sexual abuse in Malawi, in one of the toughest countries where the struggle is taking place. She has achieved great successes. So, Eren Keskin is a laureate for this award in 2017. Theresa Kachindamoto received the award in 2016. Conscientious Objection laureate for 2010, and KAOS GL got the award in 2015. Now, if you would allow me, I would like to give the floor first to Davut, the Conscientious Objection Movement. He received the Hrant Dink Award in 2010. Let me remind you, the Conscientious Objection Movement in Turkey started in December 1988, and in February 1990, two friends, Tayfun and Vedat, got together and they have announced to the public through two magazines that they object to serve military service. And then this led to the foundation of foundation of the Association for Conscientious Objectors. And they ran the campaign for against military judiciary and military adjudication, and they have organized many events, and the Human Rights Association also included conscientious objection movement within their own organization. The Association of Conscientious Objection now is open to everyone and offers support to all objectors. So, Davut, my question first goes to you. Now, we all think that we know what conscientious objection means, but we would like you to talk a little bit about that, and what is the relationship between human rights, fight for human rights, and conscientious objection. Well, our movement is a struggle for rights and freedoms and for equality. Conscientious objection is a human right. This right is an extension of the freedom of faith and conscience, as it appears in the UN documents and the EU human rights documents. So, conscientious objection is a struggle for a human right. In Turkey, however, this is seen a little bit more differently. At the end of 1980s, conscientious objection was not only against compulsory military service, but it was also against military as a whole and to the system. The main reason why conscientious objectors made public declarations of their objections is that it's a human right, but also it is against wars, against military in countries, and against militarism in general. This is a very big movement, not in numbers, but it really encompasses so many things within. I'm here, I represent the movement, but I can't represent all of it. The content of the movement, the actors, the subjects of the movement will change in time. I've been with the movement since 2009. We have established in 2009, in December, Conscientious Objection Platform for Peace. We wanted conscientious objection to be seen as a tool against war, especially against the war between Kurdish groups and the Turkish army. We tried to bring together different circles of society in this platform. On the 24th of December in 2009, we established this platform, and I've been with them since then. I'm a conscientious objector, I'm an activist, and I'm a lawyer for the movement as well. So, it is a human right, and also it is a movement which is a tool to liberate societies. It aims to bring people together with a common problem, and it aims to fight against patriarchies, inequality, discrimination, and etc. So it's just one of the tools to really bring people together and to fight against established systems. How far have you come since then? What kind of earnings do you have since then? And what are the milestones in the evolution of the movement? Well, the first milestone was the very first conscientious objection. Conscientious objection did not start in 1989. It even started back in the times of the Ottoman Empire. There were people there who were against military service, who refused to fight or go to war. There were people who evaded military service back then as well. But the terminology itself, with its political connotations, started to be used in 1989 in Turkey for the first time. So it made the movement visible, the concept visible. Secondly, the Conscientious Objection Platform for Peace, the establishment of this platform was a milestone because the movement was very much scattered. However, this platform brought everything together. And the movement could therefore find a platform to explain itself, to bring together different organizations with a common purpose, and to invite all these actors and organizations to speak with one voice. This platform said, do not pay military service and shed your brother's blood, because people were forced to pay military service and to fight. Sorry, I can't hear the chairman. Well, the government, the state, did not recognize the movement. They still don't. It's not recognized. It's not a crime, and it's not a right. And therefore, we are...
Sürekli işte bir LGBT kontrolünde otelde kaldığımızda, yolculuk yaptığımızda, sokakta LGBT...
Therefore, we are, yes, conscientious objectors, but we are evaders. So we have evaded military service, and when there are checks, identity checks, this can still be seen, and there are cases among us. I'm sorry, against us, and so. The difference now is that the movement can find its reflection in the society, because now the society understands the movement too. From 2009 to 2018, we see that there are about 1,000 people who have declared conscientious objection. So before that, it was really minimal. Since the establishment of this platform, things started to become, different. After 2002 and 2003, there was a window of freedom in Turkey, and we also got our share. Elimination of torture, the elimination of persecution of conscientious objectors, the orders for arrest of conscientious objectors, the removal of those orders. So during that time, there was this window of change and window of freedom in 2002 and 2003. But after that, things got back to how they used to be, and now there is more pressure on us. Okay, thank you. Now, I'll get back to you. Now, KAOS GL, you are very visible, a very visible group, very well organized. You are disruptive as a movement, just like conscientious objectors. You do not only confine to your own area of needs needs and to your own area of struggle, but you also go beyond that and look into matters of interest for society as a whole. KAOS GL was founded in 1994 by homosexuals in Turkey, and now it represents a community, an LGBT community in Turkey. This is actually, KAOS GL actually is a magazine. It's an academic magazine, and it emphasizes gender inequality, it emphasizes homophobia, and because you were suppressed heavily, you had to have an online version, I know, and you have, you organize meetings, you have a library, you have gatherings against homophobia in Turkey, and all these activities have been very important for the struggle for human rights as well. And in Northern Caucasus, Middle East, and the Balkans, you have organized events in order to bring together the LGBT peoples of these geographies. Now, I'm going to ask you the same question. How did you decide to come out, and how far have you come, you think? Well, many times I've heard that what we do in Turkey is even more difficult than what other other groups do in Turkey. I've heard this so many times. There are many activist groups, there are different marginal groups, but still everybody thinks that what we do must be more difficult than what everybody else is trying to do. I never thought so when I was starting out. I just thought, you know, if they can do it, we can do it. We're not only a group of homosexuals. We have LGBT members, and we want to live equally with all the heterosexuals. We want to enjoy all freedoms, and in public and private, and we want to be at an equal footing with everybody else, with all the heterosexuals. This was our argument, really. But nobody welcomed us with open arms, and therefore we had to pave our own way, and we had to work hard at it. When you look at the history of the LGBT movement, what we did in Turkey is nothing, it's just a drop in the ocean. But within Turkey itself, of course, now I look at it, and it's a quarter of a century that we've been together, and we've been working in this country. It's 25 years just gone like that. And now we've been here since this morning, and I have followed all the other sessions, and we have shared our enthusiasm, excitement, and I felt really motivated. But I still have to say that it's a bit dark and pessimistic too nowadays in Turkey. Everybody suffers from pessimism. I have to say that for the last 3-4 years we have also been affected by this general feeling of doom and pessimism in the country. I think if we're calm but determined, we can help transform our societies. We can transform our community, first and foremost, and then transform our country. There might be people who pretend they don't see us, they don't hear us, who pretend we don't exist. But I do believe that if we're calm, if we're determined, we can change them too. I believe this. I have always believed this. Under our flag of the rainbow, we have room for everyone. But of course, I do not deny the realities of the country that we live in. We can't be exempt from the difficulties that the country is going through. I live in Ankara. The penitentiary, the Ulucanlı prison, was closed in Ankara. It was turned into a museum. I wanted to go and visit it for a long time. It was only last week that I could go and visit that prison. And one thing attracted my attention. There was a corner for people who were executed. And the names were written in a list. And it was interesting because from the politician to the poorest man in the street, from the leftist to the militarist, there were so many names on that list. So the state really gets his hands on everyone. Everyone, from all walks of life. There is no one who was exempt. Everybody suffered. From the poorest to the richest, from the politician to the layman. That's what that list told me when I read through it. So we're not exempt either. We're not immune, we're not exempt. We're a part of this struggle. In the last 3-4 years maybe, we have become more visible. We have become more active in politics. We have worked with NGOs, and this breaking point in this country that came 3-4 years ago, and what it brought made us suffer. All associations, different NGOs, we all suffered, and our organization too, and our community suffered heavily as well. Whether it's been difficult or easy, what can I say? Even from the start, when we were organizing our community, when we were building this movement, I have to say that we have built it from nothing, from zero, from scratch. When we started out, the perspective of the state was that I will let you live, you shouldn't ask for more. Basically, this is what they said. This is what the general perspective was when we started out. But you couldn't even talk about certain things. So, in such a society, defining ourselves as gay, lesbian, transsexual, bisexual people, we have gone through everything that could be gone through, violence against gays, lesbians, transsexuals, murders of gay, lesbian, and transsexual people. We have seen all that in this journey. Well, the process itself, though, did not demotivate us. We continued to work. We continued in the struggle for our rights. Let me tell you one more thing here. I think today we are doing something that we didn't used to do in the past. We're not criticizing the political those in we're not really criticizing the political leaders or those in power, but we are more pessimistic today because we're looking at people and we're saying that these people are the ones who elect these authoritarians. So that's why things are now more pessimistic. When we got together, there were certain circles who said to us, we understand that there are LGBT communities, you of course exist, but this country is not ready. That's also what they used to say. Everybody had their own rationalizations, justifications for the arguments that they would develop against us or against our movement. But we did not give up. We formed our organization. We involved ourselves in politics, and there were certain achievements which really heartened us along the way. The amendment of the Turkish criminal law was one good step, and there were also other achievements, like when we talked about our demands for equal rights for LGBT people at the level of the parliament. And we did raise our voice, and we did make ourselves heard. And in the civil code, that is being rewritten now, the definition of gender, we pressed for the definition of gender, and that's where we had difficulty mostly. Well, I really appreciate your, optimistic and hopeful perspective. The political parties in the parliament need to, and they have actually, incorporated the rights for LGBT people into their party manifestos or election campaigns. So that's, yes, this is good. The political parties have recognized the demands for equal rights for LGBT people, and they have taken it seriously, despite the fact that you might have run into a bottleneck in writing the civil code or the related articles of the Constitution. But how about employment, finding homes, finding houses for LGBT people? You have worked really hard to find just employment. So how are we doing regarding that? Well, you're right. Not only the trans identities, transgenders, but some others as well. I mean, let me try to put it this way. There is a norm, right? And the norm is heterosexual identity. That's how people look at this. So therefore, all the life as a whole is built upon that heterosexual identity. So those who are not heterosexuals would be denied. So gay, lesbian, transsexual, or bisexual had to struggle for existence. And this has reflections in all levels of life, in employment, in finding houses, in education. LGBT existence was not recognized, was not governed by law And therefore, it was always a victim or a subject of discrimination, and even public institutions exercise this discrimination. So you could not be visible, and if you insist that you exist and you are visible, then you're discriminated against. You would be fired, you would be evacuated, you could be killed, and if you are killed, your demand for justice will not be met either. So that is the situation in Turkey. Yes, there are changes in the Turkish criminal code, in the constitution, but I have to say that LGBT people do not have a legal assurance, unfortunately. Okay, Theresa, I will now come to you. Theresa Kachindamoto is from Malawi. She was elected as the head of a clan in 2003, and in Malawi, where hundreds of girls are married at a very young age because they're a burden to their family, she rolled up her sleeves to solve this situation. She went to camps, these sexual marriage camps, where supposedly girls were educated to make their husbands happy, were actually camps of sexual harassment for these girls, and it was found out that these girls had to actually have sexual intercourse. They were forced to have sexual intercourse with older men, and there was no protection, sexual protection against diseases. So there were outbreaks of HIV as well in these camps, and therefore Theresa, like I said, insisted that these girls had to go to school instead. And in 2015, she annulled 330 marriages and made sure that these girls went to school. In 2016, Theresa is the laureate for the Hrant Dink Award. The award goes to people who have helped others at the extent of their own lives, and I think she is a well-deserving laureate of this award. I have many questions to ask her. We would first of all try to understand what she was able to achieve under the cultural and social realities of your country. So my first question is, how is it that you were able to do it? How did you fight against families? This is the it's the tradition, it's the culture. So how did you even do it?
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank Hrant Dink for him to fight for justice and to be a founder of Hrant Dink Foundation. May his soul rest in peace. I want also to thank the committees and all of us who are here. God bless us all. I am a traditional authority, Theresa Kachindamoto. Our culture, Ngoni culture, a woman cannot be a chief. So for me, I am the last born of the family of 12. 7 brothers, 5 sisters. So I didn't dream that one day I would be a chief. But my father forced me to go to school, and he beat me if I didn't go to school. So I tried my best. I reached up to secondary school, but I want to go to college, but my father passed away. Then the little money which my father gave to my mom, that give this money to your daughter, I want her to be educated. So these stupid boys, they must drink beer, eat meat, like whatever they are doing, because they don't want to go to school. So I take that money and start computer school. Then after that I passed. Then I go to a certain college called Zomba Theological College. There they employed me to be a college secretary. So I have been a college secretary for 27 years. Then when my brothers take over, then it was my 4th brother, when he passed away, when the royal family came to where I have been working, forced me to go home to be a chief. So I asked them, why? Have you changed your culture? I am a woman. Can you see on my chest? Am I a man? Then they said, oh, whether you like it or not, we will go. So I have been saying no for 3 years. Then after that, my husband said, okay, let's go. Maybe it's God who chooses you. So we go there. My installation was on 23 December 2003. So I didn't know what is happening in my area. It was the time when I want to go to ask my royal family something, when I saw a little girl with a baby on her lap, but that baby was crying. So I tried myself to go there and ask her to take that baby to her mom. Then she said, it's mine. Then she take her breast and feed the baby. So I was shocked. I didn't know that things are like that. So I asked her husband. Then he pointed out a boy playing football. So when I called him, he came. So I said, oh, is this your baby? Oh, yes. He's my baby. Then I said, okay, how old are you? Then he said, I will be 14 next month. So it pains me. Then when I go to those, to talk to those royal family, then I ask them, is this the way you choose me to be a chief to these young girls and boys, so that I can count my households, that I have 1 million households, while 1 million of that, half of them is for these young girls and boys. Then they said, oh yes, now you are chief. You can do whatever you want to do. We are on your back. So I said, okay, thank you. Then since 2004, I tried to call all the chiefs, all non-governmentals, and the government, faith leaders, to come to my house. We have meetings together with chiefs. Then I told them that enough is enough, whether anyone wants it or not. Today we must have our memorandum of understanding. Yes, we wrote down those memorandum of understanding. It didn't work because that culture has been there for so many years. So it was in 2005 when I called all of them again to come, that enough is enough. Please, can we have our bylaws so that this nonsense, I want to end this early arranged marriages. Then yes, we signed it, but after the signing I said, anyone don't talk anything until I go into the villages to sensitize people so that they can know what I want them to do. It takes me 5 months because I have about 500 villages and 51 group village headmen. So I know that this group, his culture is so. His culture is a hyena. This one is a dusty racing culture. So when I go there, first of all, I started to talk with all cultural gatekeepers that area. That I'm here as a chief. God created a hyena to be in the forest and with 4 legs. So I'm here for this hyena with 2 legs. I want that man to be a man, not a hyena. So from today, I don't want this hyena to do anything. Then when I go somewhere, they said, who are you? Because you are chief, so that whatever you can say, we can just say, hey, look at you, as if you are going there while you are here. So I said, yes, I'm here as a chief, whether you like it or not. But I don't want this culture. This culture must end. Then after that, I go to the congregations, told the parents that please from today, yes, I know you have the rights with your children, with your girls, with your boys. But from today, I don't want these young girls, you parents, arranged marriages, while they are up to 13, 14, 15. The age, it's 18 above. But 18 below, no, they must go to school. So they said, we have our rights. They are our children. So who are you? Because you are chief. I said, oh yes, I'm a chief. But I have authority to you and also to your children. So from today, I don't want anyone to arrange these early girls' marriages. The age is 18 above, 18 below, no marriage. Then when I finished those, we sit down and have our bylaws. Everyone signed. When they signed, then we go to the district council. The district commissioner there also signed those bylaws, and even the magistrate and the code because there are 2, all of them signed those bylaws. Then after that, I start my work to terminate marriages. Right now, it's about 3,559 marriages which have been terminated. And I'm like a girl. I said I'm a girl because 5 girls are selected to college, and those 5 girls, their parents, they came at my house shouting at me, they want to beat me, but now they came to apologize. They said they didn't even dream that their girls, they can go to college wearing sunglasses, chief, and making their hair like you can see your girl here. So I said, oh, that is what I want. So this thing, it's as chiefs and all of us here to make our girls, boys to go to school. Culture, yes, it's culture. That time it works, but not this time. Because that time, things are so slow. But now, things are everywhere. So, I have committees. I have secret fathers and secret mothers. These secret fathers and secret fathers, they're the ones who are staying in the village. They are my eyes, who see who is arranged these forced marriages. Then if they found out that a chief has received something from the parents, they let me know. And when they let me know, I phoned the group village headman of that village, that Mr. Group, do you want to go ahead with your chieftains? Oh yes, chief. Okay. So can you go to a certain house and your village headman is there? Please, I give you 15 minutes. Then if this 15 minutes finish, then your group, your normal group village headman. So they go there, and when he go there, he found out that it is true. So when he comes, who told you, chief? He said, oh no, I'm a chief. We are difference between you and me. So things are working in good condition because of those people. And we have also child protection, who also they are like messengers in the villages. They see who is who. So we have also mother group at tier level. And we have also mother groups at the school level. So what we said is that before we terminated this marriage, we take all of them, a boy and a girl, to go to the hospital to check them, to check their status. But as I'm talking now, I'm happy because there's no anyone who found that she has got or he has got HIV/AIDS. So from there, it was the time when we terminated those marriages. A boy must stay with his parents, but he must go to school. So a girl must go to her parents. If she is pregnant, she must stay with her parents, but she must go to antenatal clinic. And this mother group, at the village level, they're the ones who help to look for that maybe who is she comfortable. Maybe there's something wrong there, things like that. Then when she gets birth, she must breastfeeding that baby for 6 months. Then after 6 months, those mother group at the tier level, they go there to ask the parents that the chief has sent us to take this girl to put them into school. Then they said, okay, you can take her. Please take care of the baby. I said, okay, I will take care of the baby. Because we have talked to all parents that whether they like it or not, they must do that because it's their own problems. These girls and boys, they want to go to school, but you forced them to go into marriage. So don't say, oh, we have nothing here. No, you must keep this baby. So at break time, if the school is nearby, the girl must go there to breastfeeding her baby. Then after that, he can go to school. So we have had this mother group at the tier level because when we started, the teachers, headmasters at the school, they mocked these girls that, your mothers, go back home, go and breast your children or your child. So even these boys, they said, your fathers, you can go and take your wife, things like that. So those children, they came to my house, oh chief, you know, you have terminated our marriage, you said we go to school, but they are mocking us. So I called the DC, the district education manager, and all the pairs who are in my area, and all the headmasters. I told them that I give you 10 days. You will pack and go if you didn't obey to my bylaws. Yes, you are a teacher, you are a headmaster, but I want also my children here to be a teacher, to be a headmaster, and also to be a district commissioner like you. So please don't harass my children. Then after that, it works. Now everything is okay. So right now I can say that 5 girls are selected to college and 3 boys also selected to college. Everyone knows, and I'm the happiest chief because some chiefs came to my area to learn what I'm doing, and some they invited me to go to their area to teach them. And for me, I don't want to be Kachindamoto, no. We have talked with the DC. For the whole day that we have 8 chiefs to have one bylaw, and we have signed that bylaws. The magistrate, the district commissioner, the pair, and the policing officer, and the judge, we have signed those bylaws that we must have one bylaw. And the SADC countries come to my area. They have been there almost 2 weeks to learn what I'm doing. They learn, they go back, then after that they phone me, oh chief, things are working. Which means I'm the happiest chief in this world. Thank you.
Eren'e geçeceğim, pardon. Eren'e geçeceğim ama daha önce
I will move on to Eren, but I would like to ask a question to Theresa first. I can listen to you forever, but we have very limited time left in our panel, unfortunately. We can listen to you until the early hours of the morning, but we have limited time. I would like to ask you a question. The story that you've been telling us is a story of accomplishment, and it's a story of human rights. And when I pay attention to your instruments that you used, we are trying to understand the human rights violations that the culture creates. How can we use these instruments in our fight against human rights violations created by culture? And I'm drawn to two important messages. Once, you need to talk to the parents, you need to talk to the chiefs, and you need to convince them over cultural mechanisms. You need to convince some individuals that what they're doing is wrong. And secondly, you are using the chiefs of the tribes in order to create an area of understanding and create a convention, an agreement which is binding for them to follow. What kind of other tools can you use in order to fight the human rights violations created by culture? What kind of other tools can you use, Theresa, when you're trying to talk to the parents, when you're trying to talk to the chiefs? What kind of other tools you have used to convince them and stop this tradition? Yes, we were talking to, yes.
Yes.
peki çok kısa tekrar.
Let me, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Okay. When you were trying to save young children from forced marriages, you were actually fighting traditions, you were fighting customs, and you have used certain tools to convince chiefs and families to not forcefully marry their children. And you are a chief, and you have gathered with other chiefs of different tribes in order to socially fight these human rights violations created as a result of culture. So you have signed a memorandum of understanding, and then you have signed a convention between yourselves in order to stop them from forcefully marrying children. These are all very interesting. I think it's very difficult to fight violations created by cultures. I'm curious, when you were talking to chiefs, when you were talking to, let's say, commissioners, teachers, or parents, what kind of other cultural tools you have used which are compliant with your culture, with your way of living, with your understanding? Thank you.
I can say, first of all, I want to thank our president, because when we talked about these arranged marriages and about the age, our parliamentarians, we talked to them. Then the same year, the bill goes to the parliament. Then the bill passed. So when it comes, all parliamentarians, they have agreed that the age must be 18. So for us chiefs, we say thank you. To change something in our area, it's difficult. But first of all, when you want to do something, even my fellow chiefs, I told them that if you want to change things, you are a chief because of those people. You can't be a chief without them. First of all, respect yourself. Then after that, respect them. Then in return, those people will respect you too. Because when you say something, they will do it right away. And for me, when I go to a certain village, I sit down. No, this is a chair. I said, you have sit on a chair. I thought you have sit on the floor. Let's sit here. You can't say because I'm a chief, I'm superior. No, you are chief because of those people. So first of all is to respect them. Then after that, they will also respect you. And for those chiefs who disobeyed my bylaws, I all dismissed them. So I told them that until you obey to my bylaws, then you will be chiefs. So I dismissed the 15 chiefs. Then after 3 months, they came that, oh, chief, we are very sorry, please forgive us. So I said, oh, what kind of forgiveness is this? You know, we arranged these early marriages and we allowed that in our village. So today, we have terminated those marriages. Now they are back to school. So I said, okay, thank you. Then when I go inside my house, I phoned all those headmasters. Then those headmasters, they asked, oh, chief, thank you. Yes, they are all in class. Do you want to talk to them? Then I said, okay, it's true. Then I phoned another one. Oh, yes, chief, they're in class. Maybe you want to talk to them. I said, no, don't worry. So when I go outside, then I said, okay, now you are chiefs. You can go. Oh, are you sure? Oh, yes. Because you obey my bylaws, so why not? You can go. But if you do it again, you will be finished. Then they go back. Now those village headmen, women, they're the ones who are, when some TAs, traditional authorities, came with their village headmen groups, they're the ones who teach them how they can do it. Then they told them that if you do any nonsense, when you have in a position and that position has been terminated or finished, those people, they said, oh, you have charged me 15,000 Malawi kwacha. I want you to refund my money. I want you to give me, I got. So each and every day, I have been staying in the garden, and when the sun goes down, then it was the time when I just go little by little in my house so that no one will see me. So that is what I'm doing. Respect your people, then in return, they will respect you. And if anyone comes to your house, receive them with 2 hands. You are a chief because of that, a poor man or a disability person. You are a chief because of those people. So you must respect them. Yes.
Evet, sıra Eren Keskin'e geldi. Eren Keskin'i tanıtmaya herhalde gerek yok. Simgelediği mücadelenin birçok pisti var. Bunlardan bir tanesi Kürtlerin hakları meselesi, varoluşu. Bir diğeri kadına yönelik cinsel istismar alanında yaptığı çalışmalar. Hukukçu ama aynı zamanda bir kadın olarak İnsan Hakları Örgütü'nde uzun yıllar yöneticilik yapan, bu 3 alanda da simge haline gelmiş isimlerden bir tanesi. Eren Hanım'a Kürt meselesinin öyküsünü anlatın sorusunu elbette sormayacağım. Ama şunu sormak istiyorum. Yani kişisel olarak deneyimlerinizden yola çıkabilir miyiz? Yani hem kadın olmak, hem Kürt meselesinde mücadele etmek ve bugün geldiğimiz nokta, kötü bir andayız. Siz yıllarca köy boşaltma, kuruculuk, yargısız infazlar, zorla kaybetmeler, çok benzeri konularda mücadeleler verdiniz. Hakkınızda 150 tane dava açıldı. Tahkir edildiniz. Kadın olarak da tahkir edilmeye çalışıldınız. Maskülin dille. Bugün itibariyle kendi varlığınızı, kendi varoluşunuzu, kendi öykünüzü bir hukukçu, bir kadın, bir aktivist olarak bize nasıl değerlendirirsiniz? Tabii zeminimiz Kürt meselesi, hiç şüphe yok.
Ben her şeyden önce konuşmaya başlamadan önce Hrant Dink'i bir kez daha saygıyla anmak istiyorum. Bazı insanlar vardır, onlar bu dünyadan gittiklerinde arkalarında hem bir acı hem de garip bir huzur bırakırlar. Onu hatırladığınızda bir yandan acı, bir yandan da huzur duyarsınız onun size kattıkları nedeniyle. Hrant Dink gerçekten böyle biriydi. Yakından tanıma fırsatını da bulduğum için kendimi çok şanslı sayıyorum. Bu coğrafyanın en büyük suçunu, soykırım suçunu çok naif bir dille bu topluma, hem de hiç anlamak istemeyen bir topluma anlatmaya çalışmış bir insandı ve ardında büyük bir iz bıraktı diye düşünüyorum. Ben şahsen kendi adıma bugünü anlamanın ancak 1915'ten başlaması gerektiğini düşünüyorum. Çünkü 1915 Ermeni soykırımı, Ermeni, Süryani, Keldani soykırımı gerçekleştiren zihniyet kurdu bu cumhuriyeti. Bunu hiç unutmamamız gerekiyor. Ben bugün yapılan tartışmaları da sadece Erdoğan karşıtlığı üzerinden yapılmasının çok doğru olmadığını düşünüyorum. Erdoğan karşıtlığı bize devleti unutturdu adeta. Oysa bir devlet var. Çok kirli, çok kirli tarihe sahip, büyük suçlar işlemiş bir devlet var ve şu anda o devlet, bu ergenekoncu yapı, kontrgerilla devleti, ismine ne derseniz deyin, çok büyük bir uzlaşmaya gitme şansına erişti. Her iki taraf açısından da. Bence bu dönemi farklı kılan bu. Bugüne kadar her zaman bizim gerçek devlet dediğimiz o militarist kemik yapı her zaman daha güçlüydü hükümetlerden. Ben çok iyi hatırlıyorum 1990'larda Kürdistan'da katliamlar olduğunda ve gittiğimizde örneğin Diyarbakır cezaevinde 11 kişi kafalarına demir çubuklar vurularak öldürülmüştü. Biz oraya gidip Adalet Bakanı'nı aradığımızda Adalet Bakanı bize şu cevabı veriyordu. İnanın haberim yok. Yoktu, belki de gerçekten yoktu haberi. Çünkü orada temsil...
I swear I don't know about these killings, what he would say. And maybe he didn't know anything about this because the actual militarist state was very strong. For the first time with AK Party, with a popular vote of almost 50%, the government took over the power and it could create a big reconciliation. Once after relations with the Gülenists started deteriorated, this reconciliation reached its peak. And everything that the deep state wanted to achieve is being conducted by Erdogan's government right now, because violence has been internalized and violence had been normalized in our country now. When we would go to the southeastern villages in the 1990s, they would deny of any wrongdoing. But right now they are so confident that they can publish footage of their wrongdoings and tortures. You can watch over social media how people are getting killed once after they are detained in an injured way. So they are normalizing, they are internalizing violence against the militants. And you can follow over social media all the wrongdoings of the state personnel. They are discussing about the capital punishment right now, and the capital punishment had been abolished many, many years ago. But they are abusing that concept just to foam up the nationalist sensibilities of the people in Turkey. I don't think they will ever be able to bring back capital punishment, but they are trying to medicate the people, the masses, and relieve their nationalistic expectations. At the age of 13, I found that I was a Kurdish person. At the age of 13, we went to the seaside with my family, and my father's sister's son came to me. Look, you are a very smart girl, and we are of Kurdish descendants. That information was emblazed in my mind. We were swimming together, and he told me that we were Kurdish. And my uncle married an Armenian lady, and she was Aunt Josephine for me. She was wonderful. I loved her, and I know that all my best friends are usually Armenian. And I always loved being Armenian. I thought being an Armenian was the symbol of good deeds. I went to Sedef Island one day with my aunt, and I was a leftist at the time. And I asked her about the genocide. She told me to go to the sea and start swimming. We started swimming, and there she told me about whatever happened to her family during the genocide of 1915. This is the way people are trying to discuss realities when there is no one around. That's why I became a political activist. I never wanted to become a politician personally, because the organizations that we established to run against the state, one way or the other, becomes a reflection of the state. Alternative NGOs find it difficult to peel themselves off chauvinism or militarism or some sort of tyranny. I asked these questions to my personal self over and over again. That's why I found it closer to my heart to be a political activist in the realm of human rights, because this is the best way to fight, and this is the best way to struggle. And it was very important for me to be involved in the human rights movement. We are always complaining from the state. Yes, of course, it's racist, it's militarist, and that's what we're facing. However, we never discuss the official ideology. The state ideology had been internalized by the so-called opposition as well. We cannot criticize ourselves, and we cannot debate. We are trying to protect the old ways of doing certain things. Why don't we, for example, discuss openly genocide? This is so scary, because we should have started discussing genocide many, many years ago. We are partners in this crime. We are accomplices because we deny, we remain silent, we don't ask questions, we simply ignore the truth. This is the genocide that we have never discussed until so far. And the undertakers of the genocide founded this republic. We were always stuck between the Turkish mentality and the Islamist mentality. They are really the next of kin to one another, and they're always trying to control respectively. And we never supported those who were willing to discuss these issues. Kemalists and Islamists, that's where we're stuck. And they are fighting as brothers because they are very much alike. And that's the geography where we're trying to live. And this is something that we are not questioning. The women's movement, the leftist movement, we all have to question ourselves. We are very much like the sovereigns. We are very much like those we complain the most of. And let me give you an example. For example, I've been involved in the women's movement for many, many years now, and I have been subjected to horrible stories, and I've been trying to help women victims of sexual abuse. Let's talk about women's movement. And women's movement is highly recognized in this geography, isn't it? That's what you would think. However, last year, a woman was kicked in the face by a man because of the shorts she was wearing. And we all stood up. Quite rightfully so. But a short while ago, in Varto, a woman terrorist was stripped naked and she was put on display, and nobody said anything about this. This was the mentality that we were trying to understand certain developments in the world, and that's how we were trying to handle some truths in the world. We always want to get together, we always want to act together, and that's really important. I value that. It's so significant to be able to get together in this society, and we need to focus on our similarities instead of differences, but this is not how one can become similar to one another. This is not how we can converge. A politician called Davut Erkan stated that genocide never happened, and we became parties in a litigation application to the European Court of Human Rights. And Davut Erkan became triumphant in this litigation, in this lawsuit, along with the People's Republican Party, AK Party, and the Nationalists. And they were all together in celebrating the triumph of Davut Erkan. We are no more than 10% in this geography, and this is the struggle that we need to create. We need to start with ourselves. We are very much like the sovereigns. We are very much like our political elite. We need more women's presence in political realms. HDP is the most democratic party in the Turkish political life, and many of my friends in that party had been imprisoned. But I'm really curious as to why HDP doesn't have a transsexual or a transvestite member of the parliament. We need to question ourselves before we can ever achieve anything. I stand against violence until the very end. Of course, we don't want violence, but as the last remark, I'd like to say the following. There are sometimes some aspects that sets you apart from the rest. The person who had murdered the general in charge of the Armenian genocide, Talayan, once said, "Yes, I killed a man, but I'm not a murderer." The people running this country want violence which will allow them to control the masses. They cannot function without violence, and we have to take this into consideration before we expand our expectations. Thank you.
Evet, sonuna geldik. Son söz, umudumuzu kaybetmeyelim.
So let's not lose hope. You can only go forward if you fight to go forward. Yes, I believe in hope. We need to be hopeful, and it's very important to have the comfort to live without having to bend your heads to someone. So we have that, and I think that's very valuable.